you know how you have like those like core memories, right? Things
Yeah.
that, so I remember, because this is always how I've been. And one day I just like snapped because I was eating at home and I was meal prepping all the time. And this is when I was actively trying to gain weight. I was skinny. I'm trying to eat like 4,000 calories a day like an 18-year-old
Holy
kid.
shit.
Like I'm trying to eat, right?
That's crazy.
So I was always eating, trying to gain weight.
Yeah.
And my dad, I love my dad. I have a great dad. He's really cool. But he was, every single time I was eating, literally every single time, he would come and be like, "You're eating again?" It used to piss me off, dude. It used to piss me off. And that honestly happened for years where I would just like suffer in silence thinking like, I can't say anything. Like he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And one day I was like, "Yes, Dad, I am eating. I'm trying to gain muscle because this shit is important to me. And that means I have to eat 6 times a day. Stop asking me every fucking day." And he was just like, and he literally never said it again. So sometimes you just have to like check people a little bit, even though he's my dad. And I was like, "Hey, listen, you can communicate very clearly what your goal is, why you want it, and how they can support you." That's important. So like you have to be very clear what the goal is. So just saying I want to lose weight doesn't hit as hard as I'm trying to lose 20 pounds because I want to feel better in my clothes and I'm tired of feeling so bad about myself and so negative, and I hate the way I feel in my clothes. It's really impacting my confidence. It's impacting my relationship with Barry, and I just like don't like, being in this body. I feel like shit all the time. So I'm trying to lose 20 pounds. And if you could help me in that by supporting the things that I eat and not encouraging me to drink when I'm around your house, that'd be super appreciated, because then I would feel that you support me and we're on the same team. If you say that to somebody you love and they don't support you, like,
cut them out.
It's not even that, like, that's not going to happen. If you say that, I've said that to my family members and they're always on board, versus, "Oh, like I'm just on my diet." Then it's like, why? Don't you already look good? Why are you trying to do that?
Let's try these fucking brookies. So for anybody not watching on audio, here's some ASMR, me opening up the container.
Do you want the side sauces as well?
No, I don't. I'm gonna eat this raw dry.
Raw dog it?
Raw dog it. All right, here we go. Allie, these are really good.
Really?
I'm not saying that because the fucking cameras are on the podcast. I would tell you if it's shit. I mean,
I know.
I would probably lie a little bit so like you get better press, but like these are really solid. You made a lot of desserts, and other than that like caramel loaf thing that we collabed on, this is really good because it's not
that's going on the menu then.
the chocolate shit, like, and this doesn't have sauce on it either. The chocolate is really good, and it's probably like no non-sugar added, right?
Yeah, and that's it.
Chocolate's really good. You could taste the chocolate, and it's super, I hate the word, but moist. It's not super dense. It's not super dry. I don't need water. I just ate a bite. I, like you probably, was at a point where I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was like, enough's enough. I tried to kill myself twice, right? It was really bad. Like I was on antidepressants. Thankfully, you weren't 17. If you could imagine, if you were 400 pounds at 17, I couldn't see my dick in the mirror, bro. Like, I'm not even saying that to be graphic. Like, genuinely, it was bad. I also had no social life. And I was playing video games 16 hours a day, right? I didn't even know what a female was. You know what I mean? Like, there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And at that point, I also finished high school. I didn't have anything, like, I wasn't going to college, like, nothing. It was really dark. So I got up one morning and I was like, I was actually, like, shocked. I was gaining, like, 30, 40, 50 pounds a year. So I motivated myself. But then what also helped was having external motivation in the sense of my coach. I love you, Nitish. And then one thing that he helped me with a lot, which I would recommend to anybody also listening to this, and you don't have to be on a weight loss journey. And the only reason I've never done it, I would probably win, let's be real. I'd fucking sweep the floor because my transformation's retarded. I also did the skin removal surgery. So for you to talk about the skin removal surgery, I know it's probably something you're curious about. You haven't had it done, right?
No.
Is that something you're wanting to do?
I want to.
So what are you waiting for?
I'm still on process of like getting my PR done, like Canadian process. And how much did it cost for you?
Fuck. 30 grand.
30 grand?
Yeah.
You removed from your chest and...
So chest, no. Arms, no. Legs, no. I'm very thankful and grateful for that. Some people, obviously different areas. Yeah. They cut off about 12 pounds, but it wasn't like super bad. Okay. So they did 2 surgeries in one. They did the front, they did the abdomen, and they did the back at the same time.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. The only reason I did it was because I didn't want to be 40 years old with that. It's not going to go away. People fucking lie to you and say that it's going to go away. Do more exercise. Go do more cardio. Take this fucking pill. So the thing that pissed me off was people would be like, you just have to lose more fat. I cut down. Like the lowest I was before this, or going for a surgery that's going to shrink your stomach to the size of an egg is something that's sustainable and like that you're going to want to do. It's not. Like I've worked with clients that had gastric sleeves, right? Which is like a less extreme of gastric bypass. And they regretted it, right? Yeah. Because then from a social dynamic, all of our shit is involved around food. You take someone out for dinner, you go out for your friends to a drink, whatever. And not just that, but then God forbid you're trying to build muscle as a guy or as a female, whatever gender. If you're shrinking your stomach to the size of an egg, you're maybe able to eat 1,000 calories a day, right? And then how are you going to look not like shit?
Yeah.
Right? You're just gonna have a bunch of saggy skin.
You cannot have enough protein, enough carbs.
You can't. You physically couldn't eat enough of it.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like,
and there's a lot of information out there now.
It's crazy, man. Like, I just want to put a big PSA. Like, if anyone's actually listening to this and on the fence about considering surgery, like, literally take it from 2 people combined. We've lost over 300 pounds or 120 kg minimum, right? You can only dig a hole so deep. And when I tell people this, they don't believe it. But I've talked to clients that are 380, 400 pounds or like around 200 kg mark, and they're eating 2,000 calories a day and they're not losing weight. It's because they've completely wrecked their metabolism. Right? You can only dig a hole so deep, and then you have nowhere else to go.
Throughout this prep, like when I hit the plateau, we just do a refeed day, high carb day, and the weight goes down.
And it's weird how the body works like that. But that's a point or a question that I want to ask you. I'm sure a lot of people can resonate where they were so like in myself, like I was so mentally focused on the goal.
I needed to raise money. And they were filming in March, and I got added to the show, and they're like, hey, you're shooting Friday, come down. It was like March, like it was like end of March or something. And I ended up raising the money I needed that week through a silent investor. So then, so that's the whole thing. Like you go on Dragon's Den for the marketing, but we don't market to Canadians.
So then why would
nobody in the US watches Dragon's Den? So there's no point.
What was the point?
So the producer calls me, I forget her name. She goes, you're on, you're coming Friday, come between this window, like 8 to 11 a.m. And I'm like, I can't do it. She goes, why not? I'm like, I don't market to Canadians. There's no point in me going on the show. I raised the money I needed to raise without giving up equity, which is really cool. And, I really just don't see a point. Do you need any more reasons? She goes, okay. And she hangs up on me.
She was cheese. That's her job, right? And now she's got to tell all these rich people to wait 2 hours.
No respect.
No, but that's understandable. I mean, I don't even know if you would have gotten, you probably would have gotten a deal based off of like margins or whatever. But
I think if I wanted a deal, I would have gotten one. Truth is, I didn't really want to give up equity because I still own 100.
I think some people are so dead set. Like, for example, for me, like I was so dead set on accomplishing like the goal that I had. Like my original first goal was to get from a 5XL t-shirt to a XX, simply so I could shop in Canada, right? Because I mean, anybody who's big watching this in Canada, like I know the struggle. Like you probably you're either getting shit imported from America or you're going to George Richards, which if you don't know what George Richards is, basically just like a big and tall store, right? It's a store designed for tall people or fat people or both, right? So that was my first goal. And then once I did that, I was so dead set on like losing to getting to that magical number of like, once I hit the second goal of like losing 100 pounds, then I was so dead set on losing 150 pounds. And so I basically like just completely changed my entire life to get to that point.
Yeah, maybe just, move more and hit your macros. For the most part, that consistently, you'll see results. And
even 80%.
Yeah, and then we can see all the fun toys and supplements and toys, you say. Whoa. I mean, I'm not the guy who drops $300 on grips for tricep pull downs.
120.
$400.
120. 120. That's from the UK.
Just
I mean, to be honest, I probably spent like, if I combine the one from Italy and the one from the UK, that's probably like $300.
You just started like putting your hand on my computer for no reason. Like you're just trying to like mess with me, right? And like I'm playing like probably Block Store or like Cube Field.
We're on mini clip all the time.
Yeah, something like that, right? Cube Field, maybe the Crazy Taxi, and you're just like trying to mess me up, and like it's getting annoying, and I'm like, dude, like piss off, man. And then like you like eventually you stop, you go back to your game, and you start playing. So I see you, and I'm like, I start like screwing around with your computer. You're like, Solomon, like stop, like fuck off, and I'm like, but I don't stop. And then you just punch me in the face. You just like straight up punched me. I didn't even like do anything. I just like looked at you, and I'm like, Adam, why did he do that? Like, why did you punch me? And you're like, I don't know. And then the teacher, like, she sees us, so she sends us down to the principal.
That's so cool.
Right?
So many people in last 8 years of my career who have had really, really bad experiences with the trainers. And working with those people, it's so much fun because now they are open to, oh my God, like this is a part of training. Oh my God, like, oh, I can eat the food that's in my house. Yeah. And something that I enjoy and I can still be fit and healthy. And it's not only about losing weight. Like I've trained, my client base is from 93-year-old to 18-year-old. So everybody in between, like in terms of fitness and even in competing, even elite powerlifters. And don't have much experience working with bodybuilders, but lifestyle and powerlifters, definitely, most definitely.
Well, I find that it's very true, but like training or trainers or coaches, it's a lot like physiotherapists or chiropractors. There's really good ones and there's really bad ones. And I find in training or trainers specifically, like if we had a pie graph, I would say 80% of them are pretty stupid, or dumb or lack knowledge or possess knowledge like capable of what.
Everybody's a sheep. They design the school. Elementary school stands for elementary because it teaches you the elements of life. High school is irrelevant, but it puts you in a box and it teaches you, okay, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. because then you go from an adult and you go from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So there's not much of a shift. And everybody, you act out of line, okay, suspension. You act out of line, you get ridiculed. You make you feel like shit because you said something different, right? And then if you're really special, then they'll put you in like a very special school where like you're either really, really smart or you're really, really dumb. So then they'll put you in special ed. But the point is, everybody says bad. Like 95% say bad. And so that doesn't mix in traditional society. But when you put that same mindset and the same principles where it's like, I am not going into this box, I'm gonna go in a hexagon or a pentagon or whatever other shape other than a box. Is a box a shape? Whatever. I am a circle. Circles don't fit in squares. Okay, I figured that out when I was at my pediatrician and he had like the little shape game. But when you apply that same principle to business or entrepreneurship, then I think you strive.
Carbs, like I get like reflux.
Oh, well, that would make sense. Yeah, I mean, even for me, like I try to shoot for about 300, like 250 grams of protein a day, and carbs. It depends if it's a training day or not. If it's a non-training day, I'm like maybe 50 grams. If it's a training day, I might push it to 200.
Yep.
But maybe it depends on how I feel and how hard that workout is. I don't like training without glucose or glycogen. It's just not.
So let me ask you a question. I have 2 parents. So parents, okay, a lot of people, I want to say between the ages of like maybe 30 to like 60, they have a very negative connotation towards carbs. Oh, I gotta cut carbs to lose weight or all this stuff. What do you think some of the biggest, like along that kind of line, maybe keto can fall under this and other fad diets. What other big things do you see that a lot of people believe to be true and believe to be a fact in fitness that you can just be like, what the no?
Ozempic.
Oh, is that okay? Number 1, Ozempic.
To me, I still find it important to binge because it reminds me how much I hate it. But the one thing that I could say that I learned, and especially with you, was the balance. It's like knowing that I could do that. And I think I had a couple blowouts on the program.
Yeah,
like I had like a few
But then
days.
you had like some bounce backs.
Exactly. And that's it. Like I'm not going to go the next day and eat like 1,200 calories. That's not my goal. But like,
I had a client who was going to the cottage to one of his buddies, and he was like, "Well, what do I do? Because I want to drink." And honestly, I'm not a saint, right? So that's why, like, as you learn, like, it's more a matter of a sustainable lifestyle approach. Like, I'm not going to tell you to cut alcohol and and just go on a crash diet and this and that. The one suggestion or one great piece of advice that I can give to anybody watching this that wants to drink, like either for a 24-hour period, whatever. Obviously, don't binge drink for a week. If you're going to like a cottage, let's say for a day and a half, just focus on like increasing your protein intake a significant amount and then cutting your carbs out completely. And like in terms of like potatoes, rice, whatever.
Wait, do you say that for all types of alcohol?
Well,
like, are you saying somebody that's drinking a beer to cut carbs?
So I'm saying anybody that's like going to go to the cottage for a weekend,
yeah,
your only carb source should be coming from alcohol. And so that way you're mitigating your amount of calories that you're consuming.
Okay, this is an important question. Yeah. It's also a very naive question.
Yes.
That seems, believing in myself is super far away from hating myself. It's like when you're 370, like Puffy, like what's your bench? Like, dude, can't do a push-up. Yeah, I don't walk outside my house. What are you talking about bench? Fuck yourself, right? So I think instead of focusing on being confident, you should instead analyze how you see yourself. You should go inward and look at what you believe truly, because that's more intricate and it's easier to analyze those thoughts and undo them and rewire them with new beliefs than it is to just be confident. Like, for example, going up and just like cold approaching a woman in public for me was like, I could never do it. And then I kind of figured out how to do it, but there would still be these waves where if I was in a bad place, I just couldn't do it, or I couldn't push myself to work as hard, or I just didn't want to go to the gym, and I'd feel like this mental lock to just not perform. And so through the work that I've done in the last 5 months, I realized that there are a lot of key fundamental beliefs.
And like, look, like I also went to culinary school. So it's like, it's not a matter of like, oh, it's so difficult. It's a matter of you making the improper choices. So if you want a snack, why can't you have a snack that has protein in it instead of reaching for like, I don't know, a bag of chips, right? Now, the only caveat to that would be like a fruit or a vegetable is also obviously a really good snack, but why not pair it with like a scoop of protein powder? There's nothing holding you back from that, right? Or even a protein bar. Let's say you're on the road and you're on the go. Why can't you take an apple and a protein bar? Now, I'm not saying you should have a protein bar maybe every single day. Some people don't like it in terms of digestion. They don't have like, they have sugar, alcohols, blah, da, 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 da. But I'm not a vegan. I'm not like, one of those crazy guys that is like, oh my God, it has artificial sweeteners. If I was concerned about artificial sweeteners, I would have probably jumped off a bridge because the only thing that gives me joy every day is Coke Zero. So, anyways, I kind of went on a little bit of a tangent there, but because
the one thing that a lot of people lose sight on when they're trying to hire a coach, when they're trying to hire a trainer, when they're trying to invest into their health, is they think with their wallet and money. And don't get me wrong, like, okay, we live in a current society, which we're not going to get into like super depth of politics, but the economy of Canada right now is absolutely ludicrous in the year 2024 of recording this podcast. Like, I was looking at prices from 2004 to now in terms of grocery stores. Everything's 3 or 4x, and like that's not typically what's supposed to happen. 2x is normal in a 20-year span, maybe 1.5. 4x on certain items is just ludicrous, right? But when we put all that aside, and I understand the financial predicament we're in, and like, there's people that work 100 hours a month and they can barely afford groceries and shit. You still have to understand that as humans, time is our most valuable asset. It's not money. Because when we fast forward and you're on your deathbed, when you're 80, when you're 70, whatever, I hope you're 150, okay? Like, modern medicine is just going to keep getting advanced. Elon Musk is going to put chips in all our brains. We're going to make it to 2,000 years old, okay? But whenever you're on your inevitable deathbed, you're not going to be thinking, holy shit, oh my God, I wish I had more money. That is the last thing that's going to be on your mind. Because I would know. I talked to my grandma about this. I talked to my grandpa. Shout out Puffy Puff, or Papa Puff. He's dead. But on his, like, dying a couple days, weeks, whatever, we would have, like, super deep conversations. And he wasn't thinking, like, oh my God, I wish I had more money. He was thinking, I wish I had more time. Because he wanted to see me grow up. Right? He wanted to live longer so he could be around for his grandkid or grandkids, right? And you're gonna think the same thing. You're gonna think, oh my God, I wish I had more time so I can play with my kids, or I can have my grandkids, or I could hug my loved ones. You're not gonna be thinking, I wish I had more money in the bank, right? So this is not just like a matter of like, I hate it when someone asks me, oh my God, how much do you charge? Price is to a certain extent irrelevant, right? I mean, it's not completely irrelevant, but it's an investment into your health. It's not like you're not going to a casino and blowing $1,000. It's an investment into your health, and one that you should realize that you need to take seriously. Because it could be 1,000, it could be 10,000, it could be 20,000. Who cares? If you're going to invest and you're going to take it seriously and you're going to get results, then that ultimately is fucking priceless. Because if you were to ask my dad, okay, he's not a millionaire, he's not a billionaire. But if you were to ask my dad, if your kid could lose 150 pounds, how much would you pay for that? He would say, it doesn't matter, here's a blank checkbook. And that's what a lot of you need to realize. Now, I'm not saying, like, okay, if you have 20 pounds to lose, right, that's a bit of a different story. But if you have 20 pounds to lose and this has been something that you've been struggling with for 30 years or 20 years and it's impacting your day-to-day life, like, get a grip. This is an investment into your health. Right? Let's be real. It took me 11 fucking years of neglect and stupid shit to gain or to get to the weight of 370 fucking pounds. The bright side is it's not going to take 11 years to undo that, right? It probably didn't take you, it probably took you like a year to undo it, right? It took me like 14, 15 months to lose 150 pounds. Now, I don't need to go into the specifics. That's really extreme. Don't lose 150 pounds in like 14 months because most of you have a job and kids and a life. And if you want to do that, it's going to take over your life. You shouldn't lose more than like 2.5 pounds a week if you want to do that consistently. But like, I had a goal, I had a dead set desire, and for the first 10 months of my life, or not life, sorry, because I wasn't a 370 pound baby, that would be fucking insane. For the first 10 months of my weight loss journey, it was literally my full-time job to lose weight, and I'm grateful for that because shout out to Puffy Senior, like he financially supported me. I didn't have a job, I had no responsibilities, I didn't have a kid, not that I'm aware of. I wasn't married, I had genuinely zero responsibilities except for like killing people in Call of Duty, right? So my full-time job was like almost a real life version of the show Biggest Loser. But it wasn't even that extreme. It was just like I was exercising more than most people could. Like I was walking my dog 3 or 4 times a day to the point where I had to get a new dog because Milo was getting old and tired. So I had to upgrade to Max. That's not even a joke. Like I had to get a different dog because Milo was just getting old and he doesn't go for long walks. He was perfect when I was fat. We were both lazy and like, we made really good pillows. but yeah, the first the first 10 months was just basically like I was walking him for 4 times a day. I was also doing elliptical, and then I was strength training with Indian Hulk for like 4 times, 5 times a week in my basement. Then it transitioned, or not transitioned. I hate that word because they're transgenders, but it transferred. So I guess there was a day. What was it? I don't know. Rainy day, gloomy day. Once upon a time, a young Puff reached out to Puff Senior and was like really frustrated with his lack of progress. He was actually really motivated to like wanting to lose weight, but he like stalled, and he didn't know it at the time. But it was called a plateau, and he hit a giant brick wall, and like shit wasn't moving. Weight was not dropping, and basically, my dad typed in what did he type in? He typed in like in-home personal trainer or something like that, and then he booked a consult. I don't think he told me. He booked a consult, and then you kind of showed up in I think it was a Camaro, right?
No, at that time I had an Acura.
Oh, I thought you pulled up in the Camaro.
No, Camaro came in about 2019.
Gotcha. Well,
almost a year later.
I remember I was taking.
I got paid really well.
Fair. I just remember I was like taking a piss in the bathroom, and the bathroom had like a window, and I see some like jacked Indian man walking towards my door, and then I turned to my dad, and I'm like, "What is this? What's going on?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, you told me like you were struggling and with like losing weight, so I figured I'd like reach out for help, and this is Natish." And when he told me that, I thought it was like when he told me someone named Natish is coming over tomorrow, I thought it was like gonna be like some 5'0" like female.
Wow.
Okay. And well, I'm happy it wasn't, to be honest, because I remember like he put the posting was like something about like yeah he knows what he's doing with like working out. I had no idea what I was doing when it was working out, and I just need help with nutrition. I was.
Majority of your initial majority of your fat loss was mostly on on burgers and pizzas. We just started working on the portion sizes.
Well, at that point, I didn't like burgers, but pizza, yeah, chicken fingers, McDonald's, yeah, I was like 2-3 grand.
Pizzas and some nuggets on top as a topping.
Yeah, I did that at one point.
I remember, man. I still remember.
Yeah. That was good. Nuggets, pizza, and then I sprinkled a little confetti with the French fries. That was like my New Year's, not New Year's resolution. That was my New Year's celebration meal. If you've never tried this and you want to get really high and try this, you get a pizza. It doesn't really matter from where. I got like a medium pizza, then I put chicken nuggets on it and French fries, and then I drizzled sweet and sour sauce on it. Oh, it's really good. It's actually like making me think about it. I kind of want to try it later. But